are Group 3, and we put together a strategic plan for the NFL for the 2020 season and beyond. So first, a quick overview of the NFL. The league was founded in 1920 in Canton, Ohio, and was started as just a few teams meeting in a barn, grew to more than 32 teams across the country. That has become one of the largest sports leagues in the world. The NFL's mission is to unite people and inspire communities in the joy of the game by delivering the world's most exciting sports and entertainment experience. The NFL's vision is to uphold the core values of integrity, resiliency, and responsibility to the team. Pictured here is a picture from the 1920 inaugural season, and pictured here on the right is the Ravens versus the 49ers during the 2020 NFL season. So you can see how far the league has come in just 100 years. The first piece of an internal analysis of the NFL is the league's organizational structure. The league has a centralized structure, with team owners being at the top of the hierarchy. The commissioner and league office work collaboratively with the owners to make decisions and develop strategies. Players, coaches, and other team personnel are at the bottom of the league structure, but have varying hierarchies within each organization. The next element of the internal analysis of the NFL takes a look at the resources and finances of the league. The NFL brought in approximately $15 billion in league revenue in 2018, which is primarily derived from two sources. National revenue, which is shared by teams across the league, is made up of revenue from merchandise, licensing deals, and television contracts. The TV contracts alone account for nearly 50% of all league revenue. The other source is local revenue, which is money that individual teams bring in the form of concessions, ticket sales, and corporate sponsors. The emergence of COVID-19 has cut local revenue drastically, which raises concern for the financial health of the league going forward. And for the strengths and weaknesses of the NFL, so a few strengths are first finances. So the NFL generates more revenue than any league in the world at approximately $15 billion per year. They also have an extremely high brand loyalty. There are devout fan bases throughout the U.S. And fandoms growing abroad. And lastly, extremely successful marketing campaigns by the NFL. These campaigns have established a very positive brand for the NFL and its players. There are also several weaknesses as well. First of all, player health is a huge concern in the NFL. Many people feel that the NFL hasn't adequately addressed brain damage or spinal injuries for players. Politicization has also become a huge problem or a huge talking point in the NFL as players have grown platforms as social media has risen. And that is a positive, but this has created some off-field controversies that can divide players, owners, and fans. And lastly, there are several apathetic fan bases in the NFL. Markets such as Jacksonville, LA, and other markets do not have fan bases with strong ties to their teams, which hurts the overall quality of the league.
External analysis. You start off with opportunities and threats. Opportunities that the NFL has is emerging markets. They continue and heavy advertise in the international market. Innovate. They create more ways to listen, watch their broadcast and make it more accessible for viewers. Quality makes the best experience for all the fans, young and old. Use different camera angles and more mics for players. Now, they do have a couple threats. Some of the threats are competitors. With other sport leagues available to watch, like the NBA and the MLB, the NFL needs to keep striving to be the best that they are, so they don't lose the views that they get. Unions, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, can cause issues about salaries and if they have to change because of results and canceled games or seasons. And COVID, just in general, can cause sickness among the NFL as a whole and put lives in danger. Pest analysis is an analysis that frames external factors in today's market and influences the organization. um, political policies that have helped but also hurt during the pandemic, um, due to having the fans and less fans and mask and everything else. Economic COVID-19 has impacted the U.S. economy and the NFL. Socioculture, like social justice issues involving George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, or even uh, during the kneeling for Kaepernick, with Kaepernick. Technology, they're creating more ways to watch their content um, through streaming and other devices. Externals, Porter's five forces. You have rivalry among firms. They have to has to compete among the MLB and the NBA and even the NHL. Potential development substitutes. They do not have much um, substitutes in their industry when it comes to football, but other sports starting to get um, are starting to climb up the ladder towards where they are. And new competitors are very weak due to its lead in the USA. Power of suppliers competes with other entertainment options at the same that play at the same time they do, and the power of the buyer. They don't have much worry about that because they are the biggest sport league and largest fan base in the United States.
The NFL has implemented several different strategies over the years to cement their spot as a successful industry leader. One key factor of successful organizations is that they continue to develop and improve in order to increase their success. Even though the NFL has been very successful, there is still room for improvement and growth. One strategy that will help the NFL move forward is a combination of the grand level strategies of growth, turnaround, and retrenchment and stability. The NFL should develop an overall strategy that includes concepts from each one of these grand strategies. The NFL needs to use the stability strategy to maintain their present success. The NFL has several strengths that allow them to be successful, and they need to stick to these strengths in the future. They also need to use the growth strategy in order to continue to improve and stay ahead of competitors as well as potential substitutes. The NFL also needs to adopt the strategy of turnaround and retrenchment when it comes to dealing with the negative effects brought by COVID-19. Some recommendations for implementing this strategy are lower the price of streaming packages, use more advanced technology for pleasure and safety purposes, and to lower ticket prices by offering discount days and cheaper ticket packages. The second strategy the NFL needs to implement is the corporate growth strategy of diversification. While the NFL mostly generates its revenue through entertainment, they also sell products. In order to move the organization forward, the NFL needs to diversify their product lines. Brand loyalty is very important to consider when implementing a diversification strategy. Due to the fact that NFL fans are loyal customers, they will be more willing to buy products that have the NFL brand on them. Some recommendations for implementing this strategy are to add new product lines, offer discounts on all products, and offer customization on all products. The third strategy for moving the NFL forward is to adopt a business level adaptive strategy of analyzing. The NFL should look for opportunities to move into new markets cautiously and deliberately. Adopting a strategy between defending and prospecting will allow the NFL to cautiously expand while continuing to defend their current market. Some recommendations for implementing this strategy are to broadcast all NFL games in certain countries overseas, establish one NFL stadium to be used for multiple NFL teams in London, and to move certain teams to other cities in the US. The final strategy we came up with was the business level competitive strategy of differentiation. The NFL should use their position as a top industry leader to highlight the various reasons why they are so successful. There are so many contributing factors to their success that they need to emphasize in order to continue generating interest from customers and fans, both current and new. Some recommendations for implementing this strategy are to feature brand on products and services of all sponsors, to feature brand in various areas of the community, and to use advertisements to emphasize value and quality and the personal impact the NFL has on the community. All of these strategies and recommendations will help move the NFL forward and allow it to continue to be successful in the future.